How dare they? How dare they sue us? Yes, they are suing us. The European Union, that is. Yes, they're suing the United Kingdom. But we're British. We're special. Obviously, not special enough. Well, they started legal proceedings back in 2020. And that was kind of put on hold. Yeah, the hope was that maybe the threat of legal proceedings might push the government into applying the terms of the agreement, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. Well, there was a problem. There was a problem in Northern Ireland, so they came up with the Northern Ireland Protocol. And then Northern Ireland, DUP and what have you, they decided, well, we've got a problem with that. We're not going to sit in Stormont. No. We're going to be like little children. That's what we're going to do. Well, that's what they did. And they did not sit in Stormont. So, little old Richie Sunak, he was one of the following prime ministers. There was another one, actually. I know it was a woman, but I can't remember her name. She was like a ship passing in the night. Something with pork markets or something on the letters. Leave it in the comments down below. Well, you see, Richie Sunak renegotiated the trade and the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was like a tag-on to the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, and they called it the Windsor Framework. Unfortunately, they haven't implemented that either. And now we have a new government, a Labour government, under the rule of Keir Starmer, and as such, they're now putting the pressure on Keir Starmer to show willing. Now, although Keir Starmer has shown some willing, he's also applied some of this right-wing rhetoric, such as make Brexit work, which is an oxymoron. There is no making Brexit work. Whatever version of Brexit we end up with, we are worse off. Simple. Plain and simple. But you see, now we've got this new Prime Minister. The government thinks they can, encourage the United Kingdom to implement the deal. I actually think they will now. But, that's a bit of a hope as well, to be fair. But you see, Maroš Sefcovic has said on more than one occasion, and he's the Deputy President of the European Union, and he has said that, no, there is no renegotiation of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. I don't mean to say there can't be any titillation, but there's no appetite for it until we actually show some commitment. There's no reset in our relationship until we've done that. Just showing your face and saying a few sweet words, whispering sweet nothings in their ears, ain't gonna cut the mustard, no. Now, there are 8 areas of improvement according to the European Union, and they vary. There's a variety of different areas. One is pets, for instance, which benefits us all. If you're moving across borders, and you at the moment, you've got to have all these health certificates and stuff like that. And you've got to get your dog tattooed and actually, but okay, you've got to get them probed, But anyway, you've got to get a certificate from your vet. And it costs money. And also, it makes things very, very difficult if you want to just, I'm just going to have a trip to the European Union. I'm going to go to my little house in France, for instance, for a holiday, for a few days, just to relax. No. Everything takes time now. And it's going to get even worse when we have the ETIS system in place as well. Now, the EU has been making offers. They have been showing some willing. For instance, they're offering some low-hanging fruit, such as to negotiate regarding movement of pets and what have you, but also recognition for qualifications, which Germany is very keen on. To be fair, I can't imagine why Keir Starmer wouldn't be keen on that either, because we've got a massive shortage in the UK of skills, of trained people. be quite good to try and entice a few into the UK, although the visa system is not going to be very, how to put it, attractive to many people. No, not in the EU. Plus, obviously, they've got passports and a load more costs and expenses. They've got to have a minimum amount of income, and it just goes on and on and on. And it becomes costly. But these costs, obviously, it gets passed on as well. And some companies are actually paying the money out. They're absorbing the costs. Well, obviously, that gets passed on to the customer. It's always what's going to be happening. But this is a consequence of Johnson, Alexander Boris Treffel Johnson and his wrecking ball. And let's not forget Nigel Farage and all his ilk. Now, they might say to us that it's how was it? How did Anne Waddlebottom Widdicombe? How'd she put it? Oh yeah, it's not that Brexit is a failure. It's how we've implemented Brexit is a failure. Something like that. But anyway, these people don't care about Brexit really. They just want. They're all sociopaths. It's all about self-recognition. It's about making themselves relevant. Look at Farage, for instance. He'll say stuff to put himself out, make himself prominent. That's why he posted that disgusting post with his information that he got from Andrew Tate. It's just to get the clicks, get himself, for everybody to see. He don't care if you disagree with him. But I tell you what he does care about is the legality of his mistake. He could get in a huge amount of trouble. And then you've got the fact he hasn't even submitted his finances to Parliament yet, which he's supposed to do as a sitting MP. So anyway, the UK has been put on formal notice. It will apply some pressure on the UK government, on the Labour government, on Keir Starmer. Do I think Keir Starmer will take more notice? I think he will, to be honest. But let's be fair, this government has only been in power for 4 or 5 weeks? I think they've done quite a lot, actually. Considering that the right wing are not happy that we have a Labour government now, so they've been kicking off. It's got nothing to do with those poor little girls who got murdered in Stockport. That people like Nigel Farage jumped on the back of just to, hey, look at me. To say it's an immigrant that came in on a boat, and it wasn't. Just because Andrew Tate told them so. Just a blatant lie. It suited his narrative, you see. And now we've got other issues as well. Now this is something that Suella Braverman's actually said recently, that she thinks is not a very good idea. I happen to agree with her. I know a stop clock is right twice a day, or something stupid like in 24 hours. But they've scrapped the committee of Brexit. The committee is basically MPs, sitting MPs that have been allocated a job to look into Brexit and, how is it working for you and stuff like that. The positives and the negatives, if there is any positives, anyway. So they discuss Brexit. Well, anyway, they scrapped it. I think that's a big mistake. Even Suella Braverman has said that's a mistake. It's like, how are we supposed to scrutinise Brexit if we don't even look at it? Now, I think this is all part of, no, we mustn't talk about the B word. We have to talk about the B word. If we don't talk about Brexit and the things that are damaging the country, how are we ever going to correct them? How are we ever going to progress? How are we ever going to have any growth in the UK if we don't accept some of the failures through our previous decisions, hence Brexit, which was brought to us to extinguish Nigel Farage, but all it did was elevate him. He's more powerful now than he's ever been before. Well, actually, maybe last week he might have been, but this week not so much so. considering what he did regarding these poor girls in Stockport. And my heart goes out to the families today because they're burying those poor girls today. I can't imagine how the families are feeling. And the people of Stockport. And after those acts of terrorism from individuals that don't even live in the Stockport, that travel to Stockport to cause all that trouble, despicable people, I hope they get 10 years. They won't, but I hope they do. If not worse. These people are awful. Nigel Farage is an awful creature. Jumping on the death of these poor little girls is like a bandwagon. It's just wrong, it's immoral, and it's cruel. It's cruel to those families that lost their children. I've got 6 kids. I've got 11 grandchildren. I just can't imagine how I would feel, my dear wife would feel, my children would feel if they lost one of their children for an act of, well, just horrific. It's not just disgraceful, it's dishonourable, it's just evil. Nigel Farage is just pure evil because he still will not admit that he made a mistake. Because to him it's probably not a mistake, it's elevated him. Because his following, all of those actually who brought us Brexit, put us in the shit with the European Union so we're getting sued. All those people are just plain evil. I'm not talking about the people who necessarily voted for Brexit, I'm talking about the people who profited from Brexit. Those who pushed Brexit. Those who bet against the pound, etc., etc. Evil people. It's brought us disharmony, brought us more division than we've ever had before as Brexit. And a lot of these problems we've got today all stem back from Brexit. It's clear as day, it really is. It's not just 14 years of Tory rule. Okay, up to 2016 it was bad. But since 2016 with Alexander Boris Johnson and others, they've just made the country unbearable. We're a bit of a laughing stock. It's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. But I'll tell you what isn't embarrassing is those good people. I know I've gone a bit off topic. I've digressed, I know. It's those good people on the left who've come with, the counter protests. Not aggressive, not violent. And they're basically extinguished these violent right-wing protests. That along with the fact they think they're going to get 10 years. Anyway, what do you reckon? Are you happy about the European Union wanting to sue us? Do you think Keir Starmer will actually do something about this, actually improve the situation? Start implementing Brexit in full so you see how shit it really is? So we can get our pets across the border without any hassles. So we have a movement of labour through, mutual qualification and recognition, along with other, Erasmus schemes, etc., etc. The Horizon Project, all these other schemes. The fact we've lost access to a nice new and shiny GPS location system. Lost access to European security information, only for actual acts of criminality. Can we actually have, even then it's just bare minimum. It's just, the whole thing's madness. And everything is interlinked. But first of all, we need border checks to implement these deals, which don't just cost money, causes disruption, which costs money to everybody. And also makes it very difficult to go on holiday, that it does. You think it's bad this year, you wait next year, when the ETIS comes into play and the EES comes into play. And if all these other points gets implemented, especially on the extra border checks, etc. That's also going to cause a huge amount of disruption. So anyway, that's Brexit for you. It's shit, and it was always going to be shit. And how many times have I told you so? Anyway, let me know in the comments down below. But please hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel, because it helps the channel, you know. I need all the help I can get. So, in more ways than one. Oh, toodaloo.